I am not sure you guys are aware. This week on WWE Backstage, Baron Corbin was the special guest, and he sat down with CM Punk and Renee Young on WWE Backstage. Now, I wanted to watch Backstage because I knew CM Punk was going to be making his second appearance on the show. But man, you're asking way too much of this fan to go out of his way to watch not only Baron Corbin on Friday, but you're asking me to watch Baron Corbin on Tuesday night as well. That is an additional night of Baron Corbin. I can't bring myself to do that. I'm sorry. No matter if CM Punk is involved or not. And on top of that, I really don't give a shit what Baron Corbin thinks of dog food or what his favorite brand of wet dog food really is. So, spare me. I'll find something else better to do. I don't want to watch Corbin on Friday. Why would I want to watch him on Friday and Tuesday? Please. One night is enough. Better off 0 nights. Everybody will be happy. Anyway. CM Punk was on WWE Backstage. Lana blasted CM Punk on Twitter for misogynistic comments on WWE Backstage. I am still trying to figure out where these misogynistic comments came from. CM Punk had a very good idea on Backstage about how to book the remainder of the Lana, Rusev, and Trashly storyline. We're going to go back to calling him Trashly because, we've gone away from that for far too long. I think it's about time we bring that back. So, Lana wasn't a big fan of how CM Punk booked this storyline. I was. But I'm not surprised that CM Punk gave us something better than what we're getting on TV. I'm also not surprised that CM Punk is not only a great analyst, but also a great creative writer. In fact, he did the creative writing job better than the actual creative writers. Again, I am not surprised. I think all the creative writers on Raw have the brain cell of one person, and you got 30 over there. They got the brain cell of this fucking bottle cap. That is the top of my seltzer. So Punk proposed that WWE suspend Lana above the ring in a shark cage and have Trashly and Rusev wrestle in a loser keeps Lana match. Now, this suggestion might have been in a joking manner, but fans actually took to this idea, with many of them stating that if CM Punk's ideas were brought to WWE television for this storyline, that it would be a little bit more digestible, it would be a little bit more entertaining, and it would actually make for a fun storyline. Every single person in that thread where he tweeted that was for his creative ideas, and CM Punk is somebody that has major influence on social media. So, Lana was not a fan of this, and she snapped back at CM Punk and put him on blast for not only the storyline, but for making misogynistic comments about her. And again, I'm trying to figure out where and what these misogynistic comments were to Lana. She also called to CM Punk's attention how he's been gone for so long, and that WWE is now past putting on a storyline like that. Yes, please, tell me something I don't know about CM Punk being gone for so long. And it's not on WWE to put on a storyline like that. Honey, I don't know if you're aware, you're in the worst storyline possibly of the entire decade with WWE right now. I don't know how much worse it could actually get. So I am in favor of actually having CM Punk's storyline play out on WWE television to conclude this garbage that we're getting. Anyway, she goes on Twitter and says, I know you've been away from WWE for several years. Perhaps moving forward you will favor WWE and FS1 by refraining from misogynistic comments like Chica. Thank you. Hashtag WWE Backstage. So we can't use the word Chica anymore. Interesting. CM Punk made misogynistic comments about Lana. Oh my goodness. Oh Oh, let me go get the flyer that was in my mailbox. I think Kleenex are on sale 2 for $4. Honey, you come out every single week wearing dress sizes that are 2 times smaller than what you should realistically be wearing. Your tits are popping out in every which direction. And you're in a storyline where you made your husband look like a cuck. You made him look like a sex addict. You cheated on your husband with another member of the active WWE roster. You got him arrested. You got him a restraining order. And then you forced to sit him down and get a divorce. Instead of being a $3 slut on WWE television, why don't you leave the analysts alone and let them do their job? Because what I see from you and Trashley and Rusev is some nauseating garbage every single week. Excuse CM Punk for trying to make the storyline better, and excuse CM Punk for feeling our fucking torture every single week. You know, there's a good thing about a heel in pro wrestling. It's they go on social media and they live the gimmick everywhere they go, whether it's social media or on, line at Starbucks. You see Matt Hardy going to Starbucks and he's living out the fucking broken universe live in front of everybody. Tommaso Ciampa was another one. The amount of heel work he put into making that character just stand out above everybody else. He did not acknowledge anybody on social media in the entire time he was the NXT champion. There's heels that do it right, and there's heels that do it wrong. Lana is doing it all wrong, and she better just keep her mouth shut because she's coming off not as a heel. She's coming off as one of the biggest complete losers I have ever seen in WWE. Let CM Punk do what he has to do. Misogynistic? No. Talk about the fucking pot calling the kettle black. Holy shit. Misogynistic? Honey, again, you're coming out like a $3 slut, so let CM Punk do what he has to do. This is Off the Script, episode 304, part number 1 for your TLC weekend. It is Friday, December 13th. Is it really? Oh my goodness, it's Friday the 13th. Oh my goodness, man. There you go. I had no idea this storyline with Trashley and Lana is like Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, 2019. We have a lot to go over today on the podcast. On top of the usual with the AEW, NXT, and Monday Night's Raw ratings. We are going to go over why the ending of Monday Night Raw was botched this week. If you guys didn't watch, I'm not surprised. But if you did, you probably wondered why the show went off the air so abruptly. I got the reason why that happened. WWE and the tribute to the troops canceled this year. I don't give a shit either way, but WWE will not be airing the tribute to the troops. Seth Rollins suffered a broken finger at a recent WWE house show. That is the reason why he's not booked at the TLC pay-per-view. Kevin Owens is not supposed to be on Monday Night Raw. That's the latest report coming out, that they had no intentions to draft him to Monday Night Raw in the draft back in October. Speaking of Seth Rollins, does Seth Rollins and CM Punk have real-life heat going on right now? And that is the reason for their verbal back and forth. According to Mike Johnson, that might very well be the case. Keeping on the Seth Rollins hate train, John Morrison legitimately shoots on Seth Rollins. Now, it might have not been a legitimate shoot, but it certainly came off as one, and the comments that he said were definitely something that a lot of people would agree with. So we're going to go over that right here on the podcast. Bobby Roode and Primo Cologne. Yes, you heard me correctly. I did not stutter. Bobby Roode and Primo Cologne suspended for WWE wellness policy violations. We're going to go over that and what happened there. And then we're going to talk about Luke Harper, Sin Cara, and the Ascension getting released from the WWE. Why is WWE all of a sudden releasing superstars from their existing contracts. And what does the future hold for Luke Harper now that he is finally a free man? Man, I am so happy for Luke Harper. I can't wait to dive into this storyline. Several WWE stars are also considering asking now that they feel this is the best time that they could possibly get what they want. Several stars now considering asking the company to release them, and backstage thought on how WWE might be messing with the revival with all of these releases and rumored more releases to come in the coming weeks. So much to go over right here on the podcast, and I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, I am JD. This is Off the Script, the #1 podcast right here in the wrestling community on YouTube.com. This is episode 304, part number 1. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. And make sure you guys are aware that I do upload weekly. There is a slew of content that you guys might have missed this week. Everything you need is linked down below in the description. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Follow me on social media as well, at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. I would greatly appreciate that. If you guys want to show some extra support and appreciation, Patreon is always available for you guys. It's never an obligation. I never ask you to do so, but it's there if you want. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And the podcast today is brought to you by the one, the only, Harry's. Harry's.com/script. They got their holiday gift sets. And guys, this weekend is the final weekend where you guys can get that free shipping and that $5 off. Make sure you guys go and use our unique link. Do your Christmas shopping, get it done, and get it done with Harry's. Harry's.com/script. What guy in your life are you guys shopping for this holiday season? Is it your dad? Is it your brother? Your uncle? Your grandpa? If you're a lady listening to the podcast, are you shopping for your husband or your boyfriend? Now, I know you guys heard me talk about all the cliche gifts I used to see my grandpa get when we used to make the yearly trip for Christmas over my grandma's house. Socks, sweaters, underwear, t-shirts, work pants. Those are such boring, dull, and cliche gifts. I want you to change all that. I got a better idea. Give the gift of Harry's. A gift that is both thoughtful and practical, and something that he is actually going to use. I've been using Harry's for close to 2 years now. Probably more than that. Over 2 years. I love the closeness of the shave. I love the simple fact that I have never cut myself using a Harry's blade ever. Ever. And the price point is absolutely untouchable. Listeners of my show can get $5 off any Harry shave set by heading to harrys.com/script. Free shipping. Again, let me stress this again. Free shipping ends on December 16th, so act now. This is the last Off the Script where this will be promoted as far as the free shipping goes. December 16th, it all comes to an end for the free shipping. It's a practical gift that I'll actually use. Harry's makes sharp blades that last. German engineered and award-winning. Backed by a 100% quality guarantee. If he doesn't love his shave, which I don't know why he wouldn't, he will get a full refund. It's a great deal for you and for him. Holiday sets start at just $20. And if you guys are shopping for a coworker at work, it's within Secret Santa limits. Harry's blade refills are as low as $2 each, so your guy will save money over time. Comes ready to gift in a handsome holiday gift box, and your gift actually gives back. 1% of each sale will be donated to charitable organizations. As a special offer for fans of Off the Script, we've partnered with Harry's and will continue to do so to give you that $5 off any shave set, including their limited edition holiday sets, when you use our unique link, harrys.com/script. Plus, remember, the free shipping up until December 16th. Each Harry's shave set comes with a weighted handle with the option to engrave, so you can make that special gift very personalized with that special engraving. 5-blade razor cartridges, foaming shave gel for a rich lather, travel cover to protect your blades, and again packaged in a handsome holiday gift box. Free shipping ends on December 16th. Act now. Harrys.com/script. Once again, guys, give the gift of Harry's this holiday season. Harrys.com/script. So, I triggered a lot of people. After I record NXT, I put the video up. I triggered a lot of people this week with the title of the video. All I said was Finn Balor versus Adam Cole next week equals AEW effect. And then I got people reaching out to me on Twitter. How could you say such a thing? What are you talking about? What about the NXT effect? Blah, 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 blah. I genuinely can't believe how stupid some of the pro wrestling fan base really is. Now, I don't know if you guys, I wish people knew who they were tweeting. I really wish they knew who they were tweeting. I don't think you can find a bigger NXT fanboy than me right here. I've been reviewing NXT when people in the community stayed away from it. I've been reviewing NXT every single week for as long as I've been on here because I love it. Whereas, like I said, people stayed away from it because it wasn't really that popular with the mainstream audience. It wasn't getting any views. I didn't give a shit because every single time I talked about NXT, I was happy to talk about NXT. I couldn't wait for the 1 hour show on Wednesday. It was the one night out of the week I felt like my intelligence wasn't insulted. And now that AEW is in the picture, and people are in this big denial all of a sudden, now I'm public enemy number one to some of these WWE marks out there. How could you say this about NXT? Why are you shitting on NXT? Why are you all about AEW? What is with this AEW effect? I don't understand it. What are you talking about? What about the NXT effect? Why isn't it the other way around? Why is NXT always the one to get the brunt of your criticism? What? I mean, do you guys watch anything that I do? Seriously, do you watch anything that I record? Do you watch anything I put on YouTube? I criticize AEW every single week. There is an AEW effect that will never go away. I don't know what you people are in denial about. I mean, do I really have to go over everything WWE did once AEW hit the scene? I will not do that because I would hope that you are not that oblivious to what is going on. Evolve shows on the WWE Network. How many Evolve shows have we seen since that one? I can't remember. Unless Evolve closed down, which I don't believe they did. I haven't seen another one. What about all the big money contracts that were given out? Just go listen to Chris Van Vliet's interview with Santana and Ortiz, where they sat down and said, specifically, unless I was hearing something else, WWE's interest didn't really become interest until AEW was interested. Folks, I'm talking to everybody that called me an AEW mark and everybody that had a problem with the way that I titled my video. You fell for it. You fell for it. You clicked on the video, you watched, you engaged. I got you. Threw the line out there. I got you. Even though it's 100% fact, I got you. So why don't we shut up, sit down, and when I'm speaking to you, you listen to the words that come out of my mouth. Because I know for a fact I'm right. You can try and argue with me all day long, but more than likely, you will be wrong by the end of the conversation. The AEW effect is real. Let's go back to October. What happened with that first show on October 2nd, right? I haven't seen a show like that since TakeOver. They had a legitimate TakeOver show on October 2nd. Was that because NXT wanted to come out there and give a good show when they usually come out and give a good show every single week? Or was it because they tried to counter-program another pro wrestling show on TNT? The AEW effect is real. Why did NXT get put into the Survivor Series? Why did NXT beat AEW the week after Survivor Series? Because WWE wanted NXT out into the mainstream. They wanted to beat AEW. They wanted to stop the losing streak. And I still wonder, imagine if NXT was not a part of the Survivor Series, how miserable the entire show would have been. But the reason why NXT was in the Survivor Series, folks, I don't believe... Should I get a sign? I'm going to make a t-shirt. I have to make a t-shirt. The reason why NXT was in the Survivor Series was because of the AEW effect. I don't know what else you want me to tell you. Finn Balor versus Adam Cole is a direct AEW effect. AEW has their own thing going on. Yeah, they're going to counter-program each other. You guys can talk about the ratings all you want. The ratings don't mean a fucking goddamn thing to me. I just do it because it's in the news and people like to make a topical discussion out of it. So I try and chime in on everything that's going on. But if you are in such denial about the AEW effect, man, you guys are absolutely fucking clueless. You really are. I mean, I don't know what else I have to say to educate you on what is going on. Now, Balor and Adam Cole. The reason why the match was made for December 18th, and I mentioned this on the NXT review, and I'm going to mention it here because those videos don't do anywhere near the viewership these videos do. So when I speak here, it's in front of a wider audience. On paper, and I'm not talking about February 16th, so please don't bring up February 16th to me. WWE has all the resources in NXT to take whatever they're doing and put it on the next TakeOver show. They can't do it because now they got 2 hours of weekly television to fill, and that's going to be a little bit more difficult for them to do. They could have easily waited on Balor and Adam Cole. On paper, when you look at Adam Cole and Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, which match looks better to you on paper? That or Keith Lee, who's not really all that much known in the WWE landscape. It's not going to be a ratings draw on Wednesday night. Which looks better on paper? Balor, Cole, or Lee? Cole. Finn Balor is one of the biggest stars in all of professional wrestling. He's a main roster guy, a former Universal Champion. He was at one point going to be the face of Monday Night Raw. Big time guy. Comes down to NXT. WWE booked him miserably for 3 years. Ever since his injury, never recovered. Been booked miserably for 3 years. Shows up in NXT. We finally get the Finn Balor that we all wanted and all wanted to see on the main roster. He's a big time guy. And he's in NXT because he is not going to win the NXT Championship. He is not there to be the face of the brand when NXT has their own talent that have molded that brand into the very best promotion in North America. Here I am hating NXT. Oh my God, I hate NXT. Right? Balor is in NXT for one reason and one reason only, and that is to combat AEW. Balor's move was a part of the AEW effect. Kevin Owens and all the rumors, that would have been part of the AEW effect. The Survivor Series build was an AEW effect. When would you ever see Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch bookend an NXT TV taping? Never. In the day and age of AEW, you will. You will. And it will continue that way until AEW does not exist. So on paper, it looks better. Balor and Cole looks better than Lee and Cole. So that's what they're going with. Now, I don't think Finn Balor is winning the NXT Championship. He is just there for a ratings grab. Johnny Gargano, more than likely, is going to be back, and that's going to set up Gargano and Balor at TakeOver in Portland on February 16th. I am no dummy. That's the way I would book it. I'm hoping that with Balor and Cole taking place on next week's show, that they're saving Cole and Keith Lee for NXT TakeOver February 16th. Where does that leave Ciampa? I don't know. Ciampa seems to be the odd man out. They're not going to do Cole and Ciampa right now either. They might be saving that for TakeOver in Tampa, WrestleMania weekend. I don't know. But all I know is Balor and Cole is a part of the AEW effect. And I hope to God that we see Keith Lee get what he deserves. His organic rise and the natural feel to his build should result in an NXT championship. They're not ready to take that title off of Adam Cole. They're not ready to take the title off of Adam Cole at all. Keith Lee could possibly be ready by February. The reason why they didn't go with Keith Lee is because it's going to be better on paper with Balor. I also want to think that a small part of that has to be that Keith Lee is not ready for that, because if he goes into that, they don't have an out. You can't beat Keith Lee in the middle of the biggest run of his career. He's got so much momentum right now, and a loss to Adam Cole will put an end to all of that. So they're going with Finn Balor, yes, to combat AEW, but they're also going with Finn Balor because there's an easy out with that. You got the match looming with Gargano. So they can get a world title match that looks great on paper, that combats AEW, and you get Gargano and Balor built for TakeOver in Portland. A lot of moving parts. Some people don't like to hear the truth. Some people don't like when I talk about AEW when I'm talking about NXT. They don't like when I talk about NXT when I'm talking about AEW. Shut your mouths and let the people with the wrestling podcast do the talking. When I say something, I don't say it just because it sounds cool or I'm spewing some type of narrative. It's what you're actually watching on TV, folks. I love NXT more than anybody in this community. How many times have I stated that they are the best wrestling promotion in the entire North American wrestling scene? They are the standard bearer. They are the gold standard. Gold is just not in their logo. They are the gold standard for pro wrestling in this country. I don't get why every time I say something negative about NXT, I gotta get shit on because I'm an AEW mark. I was an NXT mark long before I was an AEW mark. I will always be an NXT mark more so than an AEW mark. Everybody is coming at me. Half of these people don't even watch NXT. They're just WWE sheep. They're these fucking WWE elitists who search hashtags on social media to chime in on conversations that they absolutely have no knowledge about. Let me do my job. I think I did a very damn good job in describing what exactly WWE's mindset is going into next week. Whether you like it or not, I don't have any responsibility for what you don't like. I'm sorry the truth hurts. I'm sorry that when I talk about what happens and you don't like it, your feelings get hurt. I don't give a shit either way. I'm doing my job, and I'm doing my job better than anybody else in this fucking community. The ratings. Now that I got that off my chest, the ratings. AEW and NXT tie in the weekly ratings. I don't think this has happened before since week 4, I believe I read. Week 4 of the Monday Night Wars between Raw and Nitro. In a first for the Wednesday Night Wars, AEW Dynamite and NXT both finished with the same average of total viewers on TNT and USA Network, respectively. Both shows averaged 778,000 viewers on Wednesday night. Where AEW can claim a victory is in the important 18 to 49 demographic, with a show finishing 11th on cable for the night. Pretty good. It's one away from the top 10 on Wednesday night, with an average of 0.28. That was down 12% from last week, with an average viewership which was down 9% overall. Over on the USA Network, NXT was down 8% in total viewers and 17% in the demo, averaging 0.24 and dropping to 21st overall in the night on cable television. The cable news channel saw larger than average viewership due to the coverage of the Trump impeachment hearings. There were also 2 NBA games that partially aired against wrestling on Wednesday night. After a week in which NXT won a couple of the other demos, it was back to the usual, with the show only beating Dynamite with viewers over 50, scoring a 0.38 to AEW 0.29 in that particular demographic. AEW's biggest advantage was in the men demographic, 18 to 49, where they averaged a 0.4 to NXT's 0.34. I gotta shout out my boy Jesse. He made a very, very, very interesting observation, and I absolutely agree with him. NXT to me is always cool. when you're looking at NXT and comparing it to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown on Fox, it is obviously the brand that everybody should be watching. I still don't understand how you're not watching NXT, but you are conditioned to watch fucking Baron Corbin pour dog food all over Roman Reigns. I don't get it. I really don't understand people's logic. I do believe that half of the world is mentally challenged if that is the case. Seriously, you have god-awful taste in what you're watching. NXT should be getting those ratings, no question. But my boy Jesse pinpointed a very, very good observation. The reason why AEW is winning in that huge demographic, that one most important key demographic where it's 18 to 49 with the men, they're averaging more than NXT every single week, no matter what you think of them. Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, Sammy Guevara, the Lucha Brothers, the Young Bucks, guys like that. They're all lending a helping hand to AEW beating the NXT brand in that demographic. They are, I would say, just there, more so in the eyes of the younger fans than anything going on right now with NXT. The younger fans are gravitating more towards those characters, and they're finding some common ground with those characters more so than anybody else on WWE TV right now. More than an Undisputed Era, more than a Keith Lee and a Matt Riddle and a Dominik Dijakovic and a Finn Balor, Keith Lee, and everybody else on that show. So it's a very good observation. And I don't really pinpoint that as being wrong. I could find absolutely, 100% credibility in that statement. So maybe NXT needs to do better as far as developing characters that could appeal to that younger audience. I'm not saying that they aren't a great show, because they have been. They've been putting on some of the best shows that they've done ever in the last 10 weeks. But where AEW beats them in that demographic, those guys might definitely have something to do with that. Meanwhile, they're a vanilla midget. Marco Stunt is a little boy, looks like an 11-year-old boy. Sammy Guevara is a vanilla midget. People chiming in that he's not going to be like Eddie Guerrero ever. Chris Jericho's even gravitating, himself towards the younger audience. They're doing a lot of things right. There's a lot of upside to AEW if you actually sit down and watch what the fuck they're doing. Now, next week is a loaded lineup for both shows. You got the tag team titles going on with AEW, SCU, and the Young Bucks. You got Jericho and Jungle Boy. You got Britt Baker and Chris Statlander, number one contender for the Women's Championship. You got Adam Hangman Page teasing a possible heel turn, teaming with Kenny Omega against the Lucha Brothers. Some good stuff going on over there. MJF and Cody. You got the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny. You got a bunch of shit going on right now on AEW. A lot to be invested in as they build towards their new pay-per-view, Revolution, in Chicago on February 29th. NXT next week, spearheaded by two matches. You got Shayna Baszler versus Rhea Ripley and Adam Cole versus Finn Balor. Both championship matches, the men's and the women's championships on the line. So that is what's going on with the weekly ratings in NXT. A tie, a virtual tie right there. And with everything else that happened on Wednesday night, they were down. Hopefully they'll be both back up next week because both have great shows going on next Wednesday. Monday Night Raw. They were down. What else is new? I wish they were down completely so we don't have to watch them on Monday night ever again. Monday Night Raw was down with Seth Rollins and his heel turn. Seth Rollins even burning it down, even after everybody wanted him as a heel. Raw this week did 2.15 million viewers. That is a 3% drop from last week, largely because of the lower first hour. I'll go over the weekly or the hourly breakdowns this week in just a little bit. The show maintained its audience better than usual with an 11.5% drop in viewers from hour 1 to hour 3, with hour 3 actually being up. I don't know what happened there, but whatever. Raw was 15th overall on cable and 4th in the 18 to 49 demo, trailing only the NFL and news-related programming. Raw was lower in the overall standings due to the impeachment hearings throughout the day, as the only shows with more viewers were news shows and NFL-related shows. The New York Giants-Philadelphia Eagles game did 11.36 million viewers, a drop of 19% from the monster number Monday Night Football did the week before. 1 year ago, Raw did 2.19 million viewers, which at the time was the lowest non-holiday number for the show in modern history. But they broke that at least 4 or 5 different times in this year alone. So those old records are becoming extinct. Love it. I love when I hear that. As far as the audience drops, the show fell 17% from hour 1 to hour 3 in women 18 to 49, 18% with the men. That is in the 18 to 49 demographic, 25% with female teens, 2% with male teens, and 8% with those over 50. Because all of them are watching NXT on Wednesday night because the 50-plus crowd, grandma and grandpa, know that NXT is far superior than the main roster. Now we got to get the fucking idiotic teens, the boys and the girls, to go watch NXT on Wednesday night and get them away from that cancerous Monday Night Raw and SmackDown on Fox. The 3 hours were 8 p.m., 2.26, 9 p.m., 2.20, and 10 p.m., 2.00. Up from the usual 1.8, 1.9 that the show is pulling in for hour 3. I'm guessing the AJ Styles Rey Mysterio United States Championship match was enough to break that 2 million mark in the third hour. Either that or I guess people were not tired on Monday night. I don't know. Maybe they were up like me till 4 o'clock in the morning because you had 3 cups of coffee just to stay awake for this fucking piece of shit. Now, the ending to Monday Night Raw. The ending to Monday Night Raw was botched. It was AEW Dynamite on Raw. Monday Night Raw pulled an AEW. AEW, they got it right this week, but more times than not, they can't seem to get the timing of their programs down, and they always go off the air still reaching for that extra time, and it seems like it's rushed when it goes off the air. The ending to Raw was botched, and you really don't feel that way when you're watching Raw. Kevin Dunn, you know, the Beaver, Kevin Dunn backstage in the production truck, he's usually on point. He's very good at what he does, even though, you know, his teeth are larger than most. But you might have watched Raw and you felt confused this week. It's usually because of the wrestling or the storylines. You know, you're feeling confused about what's going on. Either that or you're vomiting your dinner watching this show because it's god-awful. But on Monday, fans were at home and they were left confused because the show seemingly came to an abrupt halt. The show went off the air at exactly 11 p.m. on the dot, while the commentators were still discussing Rey Mysterio's defense of the United States Championship over AJ Styles, but obviously this was all a mistake. The copyright logo, which usually indicates the end of a show, was shown on the screen while the match was still in progress, and there were only seconds between the end of the match and the screen cutting to black on the USA Network. Because of this, viewers didn't see a furious AJ Styles being mocked by Randy Orton from the ramp, which WWE will have wanted because Styles will reportedly be facing Orton at the TLC pay-per-view on Sunday night. Might as well not have a pay-per-view because half of these matches don't even have proper build. I wish, and we'll talk about this tomorrow because we're going to go over the TLC show, I really wish that they would just get rid of these gimmick pay-per-views. I don't know how many times I got to say this shit. Hell in a Cell, antiquated. After what I seen with Rollins and Bray Wyatt, I never want to see another Hell in a Cell match ever again. Get rid of the TLC. The TLC match is one of my favorite matches in all of WWE. I hate knowing that every single year December comes up, we're going to get a TLC pay-per-view. Those are matches that blow off feuds. I hate the fact that we got to see Money in the Bank every single year. I wish it was a WrestleMania staple like it used to be. I hate that it's its own pay-per-view. I could make I could make the pay-per-view calendar fucking so much better than what WWE has it right now. So I really wish that TLC wasn't happening. And like I said, we'll talk about this tomorrow. But I really wish that they would set these matches up for Monday Night Raw going into the end of the year where we usually don't see good Monday Night Raws, period. Why don't you save these matches, you know, a collection of these matches for a Monday Night Raw and make those shows feel important? I don't get that logic. Yeah, I understand you need to build subscribers on the network, but one fucking pay-per-view is not going to hurt subscriptions. You got the Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull Sessions, which they got The Undertaker, which I have still yet to watch. Goldberg is going to be on there. They have a 24 thing with Trish Stratus, I believe. NXT's on there, still NXT UK. There's still a ton of content on the network to keep people subscribing to the network. TLC is not going to really mean all that much. I would take your slowest month of the year and start building Monday Night Raw like a pay-per-view, SmackDown Live like a pay-per-view. Why? Why? These shows have absolutely no meaning during the week. It is week by week booked. And I hate that. I feel like these shows every single week will never change. These shows just, you know by watching them that they're booked week to week. I would not be surprised if they're actually booked during the day on Monday and Friday. These people don't have a fucking clue as to what they're doing. I like to be in the realm of having things planned. That's what I like. I don't know about you guys, but when I see the War Raiders coming out, or the Viking Raiders, the fucking idiots who somehow hold the tag team champions on Monday Night Raw, tag team championships on Monday Night Raw, they come out and they don't have any competition, and you're still booking them as tag team champions in enhancement matches. I know for a fact that tells me that, hi, we have the War Raiders who are tag team champions. I don't have any creative plans for them, so let's throw them out there in an enhancement match or in an open challenge when there are no other tag teams on that show for them to have an open challenge with. So now they're running with the open challenge on Monday. They beat the Street Profits in 3 minutes. They're running with the open challenge now on Sunday against the OC. Who else is there? Unless AOP comes out and challenges the War Raiders. I don't know. Make those weekly shows mean something. They haven't meant anything since the King of the Ring. Some of those matches I heavily praised. And that was actually a deviation away from what WWE usually does. They went outside their bubble to book that shit. And they squandered the King of the Ring because now Baron Corbin's pouring fucking dog food on Roman Reigns. So fuck the King of the Ring tournament. But that's my little rant there. The ending was botched. Usually WWE is granted a small overrun for its shows, but apparently on the USA Network this week, they were not interested. And why would they be? The show sucks. The angle would have helped build a match between Styles and Orton at TLC, so we'll see what WWE does and how they deal with it in the next few days. Book it on Raw. There you go. Problem solved. Fuck TLC. USA Network is apparently not airing tribute to the troops. Oh my God, man. I am so distraught. My Christmas is absolutely ruined because I don't have tribute to the troops this year. Who gives a shit, really? Honestly, I'd rather sit and watch a fucking 6-hour block of Hallmark movies than watch fucking tribute to the troops. It means absolutely nothing for everybody watching at home. I know why they do it. I have a huge understanding as to why they do it every single year. Good on everybody serving our country. I just don't give a shit about meaningless WWE television, and I'm sorry if I'm coming off in a very insensitive way, but you guys know where I'm coming from. Why would I want to watch WWE weekly television or an extra hour of weekly WWE television when the weeks that we get mean nothing anyway? You're asking me to go out of my way and watch something else that doesn't pertain to what's going on TV right now? You're asking a lot of me, bro. Seriously. You're asking a lot of me. WWE started this tradition in early 2010, or I would say late 2010, with tribute to the troops. The first event took place at Fort Hood, and many more military bases in both America and abroad have hosted the event since. This year, they will not be airing that special on television. Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Live that it is unclear why USA Network passed on airing tribute to the troops this year. They held the event, but they are not airing it. WWE has it taped. It's already in the can, ready to go. USA Network is not airing it at all. So Meltzer says, and I quote, so they taped, I shouldn't say taped, they did tribute to the troops Friday at Camp Lejeune in North Carolina. It was not taped for television. There is no tribute to the troops television show this year. Nothing else. They sent people, to do their thing. For whatever reason, the USA Network didn't want the show this year. I don't have an answer. I mean, it's been on television for God knows how many years. It feels like forever. So I was really surprised when I actually heard that. End quote. Now, USA Network has a WWE week, usually this time of the year, where they have tribute to the troops, and they got NXT. They used to have SmackDown. Now SmackDown's on Fox. They obviously have Raw. So WWE will not have a WWE week this year on the USA Network. And Perhaps every week is WWE Week in the eyes of USA Network, being that they got 3 hours of Raw and 2 hours of NXT. That's 5 hours of weekly WWE television this week, or every week. In fact, they actually aired the first NXT TakeOver Brooklyn immediately following NXT this week. So that was another 2 hours of weekly NXT WWE television. 7 hours this week. Every week is WWE Week on USA. So maybe they figured they didn't need tribute to the troops, and maybe this is something WWE should be thinking about. Maybe they didn't want to tire people out on the WWE product. Maybe it wasn't in the best interest of USA Network to be festive with WWE. Maybe they didn't want to overexpose WWE. They didn't want people feeling overexposed with the WWE product. This means nothing. If you're heartbroken or sad about Tribute to the Troops being canceled this year, man, please go find a fucking hobby, really. It's unclear why USA Network passed on the Tribute to the Troops if WWE did. Now, Meltzer says that they did not tape it for television. They mentioned it on Monday Night Raw. Everybody was under the impression that we would be seeing it, right? If USA Network doesn't want to show it, why not? If WWE does have it taped, why not show it on the YouTube channel? Why not give it to the YouTube channel, get that hour of content on the YouTube channel? I think people would go crazy for that. I think that would be a nice addition to the YouTube lineup, you know? Whatever the case may be. If it's canceled or not, if it's moved to YouTube or not, I don't give a shit. I wasn't watching it anyway. Neither were you guys, so stop with the boo-hoo-hoo. You weren't going to watch Tribute to the Troops, even if it was on. So go find a hobby and find something else to bitch and complain about when it comes to WWE. We got more, bigger issues to handle when it comes to WWE. Seth Rollins, keeping with the Monday Night Raw theme here, Seth Rollins suffered a broken finger at a recent WWE house show. Rollins broke his little finger on Sunday during a street. Is that what Becky Lynch calls it? There you go. How to get it in there, bro. Seth Rollins broke his little finger on Sunday during a street fight with Eric Rowan at a house show in Augusta, Georgia. Meltzer reports that Rollins was originally scheduled to wrestle on Raw against Cedric Alexander, but those plans were scrapped because of the injury. So Cedric, he was in luck, I guess. He was doomed in a match against Seth Rollins. Maybe it would have ended in DQ because all Rollins matches have ended in a fuck finish for the last 4 weeks. Maybe Cedric would have gotten away with, just escaping this and not taking the loss. So if I'm Cedric Alexander, I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, I was saved. I was spared on Monday Night Raw. So those plans were scrapped because of this injury. There was also talk of Rollins versus Kevin Owens at Sunday's TLC pay-per-view, but the company's not officially announced the match. Owens was taken away in an ambulance due to a storyline injury when he was attacked by Rollins and the Authors of Pain. It's possible that WWE has decided to hold off on that match until next month's Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Now, during his promo this week, you could see Rollins' finger taped up. Meltzer noted that the Alexander match was supposed to be a step in the heel turn for Rollins. Doesn't look like Rollins will miss any time out of the ring because WWE officials have told Meltzer that Rollins has been cleared to perform with the injury going forward. But the way that they played it off is that Rollins was hurt because they played a storyline angle on Raw where Owens was loaded into an ambulance and nobody knows his condition. And that was the go-home show for TLC. Now, I'm already looking at the TLC card, even without Rollins and Owens, which was inevitable for the show. It still looks like a loaded show. And I don't mean loaded in the good way. I mean, there's 8 or 9 matches already scheduled, minus Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. They don't need to be on the show. They don't. I know why WWE wants them on the show, but you've already booked this show with The Fiend and The Miz. You already got Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy in their match. You got 2 tag team championship matches. So you got enough on that show. Orton and Styles, you got enough on that show where it's going to be an okay night without Rollins and Kevin Owens. Plus, Rollins just turned heel. There is more to the story that needs to be told. You got to give me the why. I mentioned this on Monday Night Raw. Why are they together? I want to know why they're together. Did Rollins have a master plan while lying to everybody about working with the AOP? Why are they attacking Kevin Owens? Why are they targeting Kevin Owens? Now, I'm assuming they had a master plan. That's why they're together, right? Or, like I mentioned on Monday Night Raw, is this what I heard from Rollins? The only reason why he is now aligned with the AOP is because everybody started to boo him? How does that mean, or what does that mean? How does that make a group in WWE? And what happens when you put them together? What is their purpose? They need structure. They need a reason for existing. What is their plan moving forward? Because, we have another three-piece on Monday Night Raw that have amounted to nothing on Monday night. They're called the OC. The original losers. The OC. You got Styles, Gallows, and Anderson. Instead of booking them in a circus six-man tag team match every fucking week, they have no plans. They could have been booked in a takeover of Monday Night Raw. WWE just doesn't have any fun with anybody on their shows. They go through the motions. There's no creativity. Why are they there? There's no other three-piece for them to go after. Is their intention to take all the titles on Monday Night Raw? And what happens when they do? Who's going to be put together to take them down? And please, again, I stress, why are they together? Rollins did a piss-poor job at telling me why he aligned himself with Akam and Razor. Because all I heard was, man, the crowd hates me, the fans hate me, everybody hates me, so now I align with the AOP. No reason was given. Except Rollins is a bitch, Rollins is a pussy, the fans hate me, so now I'm lining myself up with Akam and Razor. I need a why. I need a reason for why these guys exist together. Storyline is just getting underway. TLC will survive without Rollins and Kevin Owens. Let it breathe. Let it build. Maybe you should book this at WrestleMania. Maybe you should take this to WrestleMania and really play up the fact that Rollins and Owens are top heel and top babyface and book them at WrestleMania. I know I'm asking WWE to stretch this for another 4 months. WWE can't even book a proper storyline in 4 fucking hours. Never mind 4 months. Now, if that's the way that they go about it, maybe I'll care. But right now, there's no way you're going to make me care because Rollins is new with the heel turn. He just now officially aligned himself with AOP. We don't have a reason as to why they exist. I need a why. Give me the why. The why in everything, especially in pro wrestling, is the most important. Losers. Kevin Owens. Speaking of Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens has all the makings of a top babyface on Monday Night Raw. But believe it or not, Rollins might not have Kevin Owens to be going up against because Owens was not supposed to be drafted to Monday Night Raw. The WWE draft happened on October 11th and October 14th. Saw Kevin Owens move to Monday Night Raw despite a leak suggesting he would be staying on SmackDown, a leak that WWE leaked themselves and made themselves look like a bunch of fucking clowns. Owens had recently defeated Shane McMahon on the Fox debut of Friday Night SmackDown, and many thought that this would be used as an excuse to keep him on SmackDown as the savior of Shane McMahon's insufferable reign. However, as we saw on Raw, in the draft on the 14th, Owens was in fact moved to Monday Night Raw and is currently feuding with newly heel Seth Rollins and the Authors of Pain. According to one report, Owens was never supposed to move to Monday nights, and it was a very last-minute decision to have him do so. Now, according to Sportskeeda, again, these are clowns. Take them and everything that they do with a grain of salt. According to Sportskeeda, who apparently some people in Sportskeeda's camp have a decent record of reporting backstage news, Owens was supposed to stay on SmackDown, but after the draft list was leaked, Paul Heyman made the call to move him to Monday Night Raw because Paul Heyman, and I quote, knew he could do very good things with Owens. Paul Heyman has yet to do very good things with Raw in total. You're going to do good things with Kevin Owens. I'm still waiting for that change that we're getting on Monday Night Raw. Where is it? If you can't change Raw, how the fuck are you going to change what happens on Raw? That includes Kevin Owens. Who the fuck reported this shit? Seriously. Paul Heyman says he could do very good things with Owens. I'm still waiting for very good things to happen on Monday night, which I have nothing of. Humberto? Give me a break. Fucking ridiculous. Owens has been doing the same thing that he was doing on SmackDown. Now he's just doing it against Rollins instead of Shane McMahon. And is arguably, he could be the brand's top babyface. So there's definitely every chance that this report might actually be accurate. Owens has never reached the heights that many feel he should be reaching in WWE, despite being a Universal Champion and defeating John Cena very early in his main roster debut. Many view him better as a heel compared to being a babyface, but Owens is so great at what he does. He was actually making that babyface turn work. He was so organically over. The fans wanted, and this goes back to all of those types of runs that the fans are dying to just invest themselves in. And it's funny how when Owens was getting over and he came out there and cut that work shoot promo on Shane McMahon about how there was just too much Shane McMahon on television, how Asuka and Buddy Murphy and all these different people, Kairi Sane, Apollo Crews, were all being held back on WWE television. Now Shane McMahon had 6 segments out of fucking 15 on SmackDown Live. How he came out and cut that work shoot promo. They took legitimate gripes from everybody in the community, made it into a storyline. They knew what the problem was, yet they willingly continued to make those same mistakes just to shit on the fans. They used all the fans' complaints as a storyline, and they had no intention of changing the fucking show for the better at all. Because look at the show now. I mean, Shane McMahon's not there, and somehow it's fucking worse! Somehow the show is worse without Shane McMahon there. I don't know how that's possible. Maybe this is WWE's plan. Maybe they want us to miss Shane McMahon so much that he does come back to SmackDown Live. Anyway, what I'm getting at is they built Kevin Owens up in this organic way by just throwing out some realism there. People bought into it. They sunk their teeth into it. And when WWE realized that Kevin Owens was getting way over, more so than they kind of wanted him to, but that was their own fault. That's how much they don't know their product and their audience. When he was getting over way more than they expected him to, they pulled back the leash. They pulled back the leash because, you know, fuck everybody who's going to get over more than WWE really wants them to get over. They kept this guy off TV for 4 months. He cut that promo, and then, just like that, he went back to apologizing to Shane McMahon and asked Shane McMahon to uplift the $100,000 fine, if you guys remember. Please take the fine away from me. For you, that's a down payment on a new car. For me, that's my entire family's well-being. They made him into pretty much what I call Seth Rollins every week. A fucking pussy. Kept him off TV for 4 weeks. Killed the guy's momentum. They bring him back. What does he do? He beat Shane McMahon at SummerSlam. Then they put him in a ladder match. Goodbye, Shane McMahon. Now he's on Monday Night Raw. Now they got to start all over again. It's like they wake up one morning and they want Kevin Owens to be the face of the company. Then they wake up the next morning. Yeah, we don't want it. We don't want it. We're going to push somebody else and leave this guy in catering for 4 weeks. Then they're going to wake up 4 weeks later and say, you know what? Maybe we should go back to Kevin Owens. Maybe he's got that thing about him that he could be the biggest babyface on Monday Night Raw. They don't know what the fuck they want to do. They don't know what they want to do. Kevin Owens has all of the talent in the world to make any situation you put him in work. He's got what it takes to be not a stone cold babyface, but a real working man, everyday man, babyface that the fans could look at and say, you know what? I kind of feel the same way this guy does. I mirror myself after him. You know? I look at Kevin Owens and I'm like, this is me in my everyday life. I'm not the most athletic guy. I'm not the best looking guy. I'm not, you know, the guy that people look at and say, this guy's going to be the top dog. He's got to work his way there. He's got to work his ass off to get there. That's why Daniel Bryan was so over. Everybody related to Daniel Bryan back during the Yes movement. Most of the reason why Daniel Bryan was over because he was so relatable. Same thing is happening with Kevin Owens, and WWE doesn't want to embrace that. I don't know why. Now they have to. because they don't have another clear-cut babyface on that show. They do. His name is Aleister Black, but they refuse to push him. Guy's fucking playing with the ammonia and the fucking the broomsticks in the closet, in the janitor's closet. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Maybe he's drinking the fucking ammonia. That's what I should be doing on Monday night. Maybe I'd have a better time watching this fucking garbage. Jesus Christ. If he's not in there, he's getting another fucking tattoo. They got top-tier babyfaces on this show. Not Humberto. Clowns. Give me a break. Kevin Owens is the guy. Push him as such. You got no choice now. What are you going to do? I don't put WWE in a position to give me engaging storylines here with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. I don't even know what the fuck they are fighting over. Yeah, we came out of Survivor Series with Rollins shitting on everybody. Now I don't know what's going on. Why? I need a why from Rollins. You hear me, champ? Instead of fucking playing with your little pinky, you know? Take a step back from the coffee. Take a step back from making the caramel macchiatos and give me the fucking why about why you are with AOP. Because right now I don't have a legit reason as to why. And if I don't have a legit reason, I'm not going to have a legit reason to care. Seriously. Seth Rollins and CM Punk. According to PW Insider, there might be legit heat between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. During PW Insider Elite Audio, Mike Johnson discussed Rollins versus Punk. The match right now isn't in the pipeline for WWE, but there could be a real reason to make this feud happen. There might not be necessarily heat between Rollins and Punk, but the groundwork might have already been laid down for this match. He says, and I quote, "Many years ago, a young Tyler Black showed up at the Ring of Honor school looking to be trained and was taken in by the school and didn't have money to be trained, and he was sent home because he didn't have a way to pay his bills. So I don't know if there's any real heat there, but there's probably an underlying desire from Rollins to make money with CM Punk, and Punk has been very much, and I quote, I'm not wrestling yet. I think that CM Punk is taking some shots at him. Like Tuesday, they had Baron Corbin on WWE Backstage, and Punk said, and I quote, oh, you're not as thin-skinned as some people we've had on here. Seth Rollins was on here the week before. Punk was not. Are they laying something out in the future? I say maybe. I don't think there is any plan. So he went on to say, Punk, oh, you're not as thin-skinned as some people we've had on the show. And then Mike Johnson went on to say that Seth Rollins was on the week before. Punk was not. They're possibly laying something out for the future. Maybe. Right now, there's no plan for it, but that's what he thinks is going on. There could be possibly real-life heat between Rollins and CM Punk. CM Punk right now is on WWE's wish list. He's at the top of the wish list for WrestleMania. I don't think it's happening. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see it happening against Seth Rollins. I don't care. I really do not care to see the match happen at all. I don't know if there's anybody in WWE I want to see go one-on-one with CM Punk. I really don't. I really don't care. The only one that I wanted to see CM Punk go one-on-one with was Kenny Omega. That was it. Possibly Daniel Bryan. But I'm not even interested in that because they could have had that for WrestleMania 30. That realistically should have been the main event of WrestleMania 30. Bryan versus Punk for the WWE Championship, and WWE didn't go that route. Now, I'm not going to complain about what we got because WWE actually did the right thing, but to avoid all of this possible disaster, they should have went with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Punk should have already gotten his WrestleMania main event. He doesn't need WWE. He doesn't. He's making money. He's happy. He's comfortable. That's all that matters. WWE is the one that needs CM Punk. Seth Rollins is the one that needs CM Punk because right now Rollins is a dying act on Monday Night Raw. Heel or not. AOP or not. Because there's nothing that Rollins is going to do or nothing that Rollins is going to say that's going to get me interested in what Seth Rollins is doing. He's already ruined. He's already ruined. And they've already kind of fucked up. At least the beginning stages of this, they already are in the process of fucking everything up. They got a long, arduous way to go to make me give a shit about Rollins' heel turn. Yeah, finally they did the right thing. Finally. Now what are you going to do about it? They could do the right thing. It's all in the follow-up. If you don't get me to a point where I care and continue to make me care, then nobody's going to care. You got to do everything you can to make the follow-up important. That's where they drop the ball. They can do all they have to do to make things right. If you don't get me to a point where I care, who's going to give a shit? Not me, not you. That's the most important part of the Seth Rollins heel turn. And I doubt they lay the foundation for this to be epic. John Morrison. John Morrison shoots, I would say, it's in my notes, I put shoots on Seth Rollins while he visited WWE The Bump on Twitter or social media, YouTube. John Morrison is yet to make his in-ring return for WWE. I'm not excited at all about John Morrison because within 2 weeks, he's going to be Johnny Catering. It's going to be Johnny Green Beans, Johnny Green Peas, Johnny Cheesecake, and Catering. John Morrison shoots on Seth Rollins. While Morrison was on the bump, Caleb Braxton brought up some things that Rollins said about John Morrison on a podcast years ago. You mean to tell me that the bump is actually doing their homework? Oh my goodness. WWE should take some fucking lessons. The architect, Seth Rollins, named and listed his accomplishments and took a shot at Morrison. Now John Morrison had the opportunity to look back and see the situation with a little bit more clarity. So this was a podcast. It's easy to be that social media tough guy. He's clearly an accomplishment-oriented guy, right? He's citing all of his past accomplishments. I feel like this is a guy who's been drinking a lot of his own Kool-Aid. And if you know what I mean, sometimes you shouldn't be drinking that much of your own Kool-Aid. First of all, if you're comparing Seth Rollins as being Kool-Aid, I fucking hate Kool-Aid. Give me some lightly sweetened, preferably unsweetened, iced tea. Then that makes me a fan of Lacey Evans, I guess, right? Oh well. Iced tea over Kool-Aid. He likes to talk about how he's the best, which is not something original in wrestling, like Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, Chris Jericho. Everybody likes to say they're the best, but Rollins believes it, and Rollins tweets about it, and Rollins tells everybody about it, pretty much non-stop. Seth Rollins is the Build-A-Bear superstar. He's a combination of a lot of guys. Now, I don't know what's going to happen here. I doubt John Morrison goes to Monday Night Raw. I think he would fit like a glove on Monday Night Raw. I love to see Morrison in Black, Morrison and Murphy, Morrison and Ricochet. Morrison and Rollins would be decent, right? Morrison and AJ. A lot of good talent over there, Morrison, or for Morrison to work with. But, I love the line that Rollins is nothing more than a Build-A-Bear superstar. He's a combination of a lot of guys. Now, this could be legitimately some cheap shots to build a storyline. I don't know how John Morrison feels. I doubt he's going to go on a WWE show and really air his grievances about Seth Rollins, who he is now colleagues with on the same roster. Maybe this is being done to set up a future program. I don't know. I don't know why they would bring this to the table and have this be a legit shoot. WWE doesn't operate in that way. They don't operate in that way at all. Now, what he said was obviously true, but I doubt this was done without Rollins knowing. I doubt this was done without WWE knowing. I'm sure that this is probably leading to something. Now, you could say, put Morrison on SmackDown and have him team up with The Miz and have Morrison and Miz go at it, maybe a shot at the Tag Team Championships. I don't know. That's the easy way. That's the easy way for WWE to go. And quite honestly, if that happens, yeah, it's going to be cool. But it's going to die 1,000 deaths in week 3. And then we're all going to be anticipating the fucking heel turn by The Miz. That would be good. That would be good. Predictable, but good. It's not going to keep my interest. That's too easy for WWE. I'm tired of giving them the easy way out and everything. What I would like to see is Morrison go to Monday Night Raw. And I'd like to see him, and I'd like to see them build him up as a legit one-on-one singles guy. He's got the talent to do so. He's got the talent to work with over there, no question. Why stoop to the easy way out with John Morrison? Have him go to Monday Night Raw. Have him build a program with Seth Rollins. Possibly over the United States Championship. Rey Mysterio's another one I'd love to see Morrison go one-on-one with. That is the brand for him. That is the brand for him. SmackDown, not so much. SmackDown, not so much. Who they got on SmackDown? I don't really know. Right now, I don't believe how bad SmackDown is. I really don't. Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode, right? Baron Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Ali, right? Morrison and Andrade could go one-on-one. Even Morrison and Humberto. There's just more guys on Monday Night Raw that I like to see Morrison go one-on-one with. Ali's another one, Gable, you know? Those are guys I like to see Morrison go one-on-one with, but that is the easy way up by putting him on SmackDown. SmackDown doesn't need more superstars. SmackDown needs better creative writing. That's what they need. They don't need another superstar that they're just going to waste away into nothing. I want to see WWE go out there and actually try and push John Morrison as a legit singles guy. But knowing that he stated in this same interview that he planned on leaving WWE for 1 year, it ended up being 9 years. And he made himself into a bigger superstar in those 9 years than he was in the WWE. So what is WWE going to do? They're going to look at that and they're going to be like, you left us. You told us you were coming back in a year. You were gone for 9. Now you're back home thinking you're going to reap the benefits, make this money, and become a household name all over again. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. You know EC3? He's saving you a seat right next to him in catering. Watch. I doubt Morrison goes anywhere on Monday night or Friday night. WWE just signed him to keep him. It's another thing. They signed him to keep him away from AEW. AEW effect. If you don't believe in it, you're an ignorant clown. It's real. Guys, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. We got suspension news. Bobby Roode and Primo Cologne. And then why WWE is suddenly now releasing superstars from their contracts. We're going to go over that and talk about Luke Harper. Finally, a free man right here on Off the Script. Make sure you guys go out and check out Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys use our link. Sign up. 30 days free of their service. Plus, for signing up, Audible's going to give you 1 free audiobook of your choice. Over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. And if you don't want the wrestling related content, you guys got a whole bunch of other stuff on there. You guys can certainly choose as your free audiobook. Best part is, if you don't like the service, you sign up, you think to yourself, Audible's not for you, you could cancel in those 30 days and still get to keep your audiobook for free, no matter what, and you will not be billed. It's a great way to support the show. It's a great way to support my friends over at Audible. Guys, once again, 30 days free audiobook. Sign up using our link. That's audibletrial.com/offthescript. So, Robert Roode and Primo Cologne. Primo Hoagies? No, Primo Cologne. The timeshare guy? Yes, Primo Cologne. Maybe I should hit him up. You know, being that I'm due for a vacation. Maybe I'll hit up Primo Cologne and ask around and see what type of 5-star hotels are down in Puerto Rico, man. I could use a trip to Puerto Rico. Some sun, some beach, nice cold pina colada. It's too fucking cold up here, man. I'm tired of this fucking winter already, you know? Anyway. Oh, JD, why are you being so insensitive? He's a fucking nobody. What do you want from me? Jesus Christ. Everybody is tweeting me. What do you think of the news? Bobby Roode and Primo Cologne getting suspended for violating WWE's wellness policy. Do you know what I consider the big fucking news story out of this? It's not Bobby Roode getting suspended. It's the fact that Primo Cologne is still on the active WWE roster. That's the one thing I took away from this. Never mind fucking Bobby Roode. Unreal. Bobby Roode and Primo Cologne suspended for wellness policy violations. Now, this is reported by Ryan Satin. This happened earlier in the week. He says, and I quote, "Sources tell us at Pro Wrestling Sheet that Robert Roode and Primo Cologne have been hit with a 30-day suspension this week due to violations. It's unclear at this time what they found in their systems." Robert Roode was last seen on WWE TV on the 11/29 episode of SmackDown, where he took on and was defeated by Roman Reigns. For the last few months, Roode has been teaming with Dolph Ziggler. Because Robert Roode was in a tag team with Chad Gable. They took him out of a tag team only to put him back in another tag team. Makes sense. That's WWE creative in a nutshell, folks. Now, while still contracted to the WWE, Primo has been wrestling in Puerto Rico along with Epico for his father's promotion. Primo last wrestled for the WWE on a pre-show for Survivor Series in 2018. Unreal. Why do they still have a job? That's what I would love to know. WWE's releasing everybody. Clearly, you have no desire to push these guys. Get rid of them. What type of payroll management is WWE running? If I know I have guys that have not been on TV for over a year, they are being cut just like the Ascension. I don't get it. Now, due to his alliance with King Corbin, Burger King Corbin, Robert Roode is currently involved in, I don't believe I'll have to say this. I don't know who writes this shit. Pro Wrestling Sheet. Get your fucking shit together, bro. Robert Roode is currently involved in one of the biggest feuds on SmackDown right now with Roman Reigns. Yeah, while they're shilling Alpo. I guess they have Alpo stock that I don't know of. I don't know. There's no word yet on how this violation is expected to affect his career. It could absolutely affect his career. I don't know. What's going to happen after the 30 days? This feud, God willing, will be over in 30 days. Now, WWE found out about this a couple of weeks ago. Clearly, plans went into effect because Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, we'll talk about this tomorrow when we talk about TLC, they were actually supposed to go into the tag team title match against the New Day, and it was not supposed to be against the Revival. It was supposed to be Roode and Ziggler against the New Day, and that got changed to the Revival. So WWE had to change plans because of Robert Roode getting suspended. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I doubt anything happens to him. WWE has a top-tier talent in Robert Roode, vastly underused and underutilized. The guy right now is totally miscast. I don't know what the fuck they got going on with Robert Roode. They fucked this guy up from the word go. Soon as that decision was made to call him up from NXT, the guy has never been the same. Never. They ruined this guy's career. Soon as they put him in the hands of Vince McMahon, because Vince McMahon heard his theme music and said, why is he a heel with a babyface theme? Let's turn him into a babyface. It's exactly what they did. They fucked him up completely. Now, this feud hopefully will be over. What happens with Roode and Ziggler, I don't know. Robert Roode should totally be on his own, and he should be booked as a top-tier heel on WWE. The fucked up thing is, it's too little too late. Nobody's going to believe in Bobby Roode, even if they start pushing him as a legit heel. Nobody's going to buy into him because for 3 years, he's been called up and placed on the main roster, and nobody has looked at him as important at all. And when you put him with guys like Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, it's pretty much career killer. It's a career killer. Ziggler is a dead act. Baron Corbin has go-away heat. There was a shed of fucking hope for Baron Corbin this year, and they fucked it all up. Won the King of the Ring. He had this newfound fucking just respect from everybody, and they went right back to pushing him as a complete schmuck on WWE TV. Robert Roode's going to be off TV, so now we got Roman Reigns and Corbin. Hopefully this is used as a way to just speed through this storyline and get it over with, because I can't bear to see it anymore. Downright nauseous every time I see Corbin and Roman Reigns in the same ring at the same time together. Same thing with Dolph Ziggler on my TV screen. Same shit that they did last year with different fucking names. That's all it is. So hopefully he's back. He's healthy. When he comes back, the bigger story here is Primo Colon still has a job with WWE. I wonder how he likes Puerto Rico this time of year. That's all I'm wondering. And I mean that in the most thumbs up way possible. Please, I'm waiting for your fucking insensitive comments down below. Give me a pina colada and shut your fucking mouth. Speaking of people with contracts, 4 people on WWE's roster have their freedom after this week. Luke Harper, Sin Cara, Victor, and Connor of the Ascension. All have been released from their contracts with immediate effect. Now, I want to make mention right here and now that everybody talking about where Luke Harper's going, I don't give a shit where he goes. MLW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, AEW, House of Glory. I'd love to have Luke Harper. I'd love to have Brody Lee as an active roster member of House of Glory. I could do a lot of work with that guy. You know? My creative juices could be working with Brody Lee on the House of Glory roster. I think everybody on that team would agree with that statement. No matter what happens, these guys have 90-day no-compete. They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere until March. So get it out of your head. You got a little bit more time to wait to see Luke Harper back in a wrestling ring. But the most important thing here is he's got his freedom. Now, we already knew that Sin Cara and Harper at least wanted to leave the company. They were very vocal. Sin Cara, just as of a couple weeks ago, asked for his release. WWE granted his release. Hunico, at least. The Sin Cara character, I don't think that they should bring back to television. It's a dead act. Nobody's going to believe in Sin Cara. He's nothing more than a loser on WWE TV. It's going to be nearly impossible to build somebody like that up as credible when you've done everything possible to kill him. Hunico, under the mask, nobody even knows what he looks like. I don't remember what he looks like. He wants to go do MMA. He wants to go work for Del Rio's MMA promotion. Goodbye. Goodbye. WWE realizes that this is the absolute best move. They are not going to feel any type of way by letting this guy go. So it's clearing payroll, and that's all WWE should look at it as. Harper is a different story. Harper's a different story. He asked to be released. He went vocal on social media, and WWE, instead of releasing him like they did Dustin Rhodes and like they did Shawn Spears, they tacked on time to Luke Harper's contract. They added 6 months because he was out with injury, and they added months to his contract. So he was not actually going to be able to leave the company legitimately for the same amount of time. His contract was going to be up anyway in March, so WWE opted to let him go, which is kind of fucked up because they could have kept him off TV. But in fact, they wanted to fuck with him. So they're letting him go for 90 days, right? They're letting him go now with a 90-day no-compete. He can't do nothing anyway. So it would have been the same thing if they just let his contract run out. It would have been the same time that he would have not been wrestling anyway, because WWE wasn't going to plan on using him. So they released him knowing that he's got a 90-day, he can't do anything anyway. So instead of everybody wondering where Luke Harper is, why aren't you using Luke Harper? Luke Harper still be in everybody's mouth and on everybody's mind. They figured they release him into the wild, 90-day no-compete. Nobody's going to be talking about him because he's not on the roster anymore. So WWE kind of fucked with Luke Harper in that way, which we'll talk about. That's in the notes too. So Harper was fucked over by WWE. We'll talk about Luke Harper a little bit more extensively, but Sin Cara, Harper, and the Ascension, I don't even remember the last time I seen them on Monday Night Raw. They were dead from the word go as well, because they were made out to be the biggest tag team in NXT. They got brought to the main roster, and all I remember is that they were buried by JBL and the New Age Outlaws, the APA and the New Age Outlaws. I remember it so fondly. They were buried on Monday Night Raw. They absolutely never recovered from that beatdown. They tried to be LOD, a Legion of Doom. They tried to be LOD. Wasn't going to work. And WWE found no redeeming value in Connor and Victor at all. And they were absolutely as expendable could be. So releasing them, I find that to be not surprising at all. But why did this happen so suddenly? The latest reports were that WWE wasn't going to be releasing anybody due to the fear that they would simply jump ship to their competitor, AEW. Now, according to Wrestling News Source, the reason is largely financial. And I quote, a WWE source has said that another reason why the company is more open to releasing some wrestlers is that it helps them cut down on salaries while freeing up more money to offer deals to mid and upper card wrestlers who they don't want to leave the company. Now, I made mention, and this could be maybe WWE's freeing up payroll to go after and go hard after Marty Scurll. WWE could be releasing these guys and several more wrestlers to come because they want to offer CM Punk a big money contract to come back to the WWE, right? It's not out of the realm of possibility. But right now, it is largely a financial decision. They want to offer deals to upper and mid-card guys who they actually want to stay with the company. And they figured, you know what, we have some extra breathing room on payroll. Let's get rid of these guys. We're not using them anyway. And they're not going to be a difference maker, which they're not. They're not going to be a difference maker no matter where they go. So let's let them leave. Why are we holding on to them? It's silly. I'd rather have the money instead of them jumping ship to AEW. It's not going to matter anyway. Now, it makes sense if this source in this report is accurate. Kind of does make sense. I could see that being the case. Because by moving unused stars, they have even more funds to keep stars that they actually have plans for happy. And actually want to stay happy. Meltzer confirmed on Wrestling Observer Live that all 4 men will not be able to compete until March 8th due to their 90-day no-compete. Following the 4 releases, fans were left wondering whether more were on the way being released. And according to one report, that very well could be the case. According to PW Insider, there were rumblings of additional releases on top of what was announced this week with Harper, Sin Cara, and The Ascension. So I will definitely keep an eye on what's going on, and I'll let you guys know, whether in a video or on Twitter, if any more big names are being released. Now, WWE has got such an unnecessarily large roster. They have so many people that they're not even using right now, and it could probably use several more releases, and they would still have more people on their roster not getting ample TV time if they go out there and release everybody that they need to that they're not using. Prior to these sudden releases, WWE had been refusing to release anybody, and all release requests fell on deaf ears due to the fear of stars leaving to join AEW. But it seems like this reluctance has finally broken. Who's to say that everybody you release is going to go and join AEW? Yeah, Cody has certain ties to the Ascension. Sure, Cody has been in contact with the Ascension. I don't know what you would do if you bring the Ascension in. You got tag teams right now that aren't even getting 2 hours or TV time on a 2-hour AEW Dynamite at this moment. What are you going to do by bringing in another tag team? You don't want to overflood your tag team division, because I know for a fact that they're waiting for the Revival's contract to be up. So why would you go out there and sign somebody that's not the Revival and only add another tag team that really isn't going to amount to anything right away on AEW television? You also don't want to go out there and be the land of WWE trash. Guys that haven't been used on WWE, you're going to find a home, and somehow you're going to look at them way differently because they're with AEW. It's not the case. You don't want AEW to become WWE has-been landfill, because then everybody's just going to label AEW TNA, and you don't want to do that. Even though I think AEW right now has eyes on certain individuals. It's not the Ascension. I'm sure that they have eyes on Luke Harper. Sin Cara is not doing anything as far as importance in pro wrestling after leaving WWE. Nobody's going to give a shit. So, right now, WWE needs to be in the mindset that these guys and whoever else that they have on the list of releases planned, they're not going to move the needle in any way. WWE should, for once, finally look out for themselves and think, how can we help our brand? What can we do to make our show and our company thrive a little bit more, make some more money, stop wasting money, make the shows better, stop worrying about AEW? And then everybody shits on me for bringing up the AEW effect. You're hearing it firsthand. The AEW effect is not over because WWE is now releasing people. The AEW effect will always be there. It's just going to show itself in different ways, whether that's big money contracts, longer deals for those contracts, a push on TV that wasn't there 6 months ago to a guy who's got a contract up, aka Rey Mysterio. It will show itself in other ways. All because these guys were released doesn't mean the AEW effect is now canceled. It will always be there. But AEW and whoever gets these guys, they're not going to move the needle. They're not going to move the needle. Luke Harper's not going to move the needle. The Ascension's not going to move the needle. These guys were expendable. Luke Harper, I don't know how you fuck Luke Harper up, but the other 3 guys, why even bother employing them if you're going to have them sit around and do nothing? You want to get some fucking kickback on that investment. They were receiving nothing. So Dave Meltzer reported a couple weeks ago that there was a push by summon management to let unhappy wrestlers go. Vince McMahon was the person who was resisting letting them go because the feeling is that they would jump to the competition. Triple H was the person who convinced Vince McMahon to grant Dustin Rhodes his release. So he may have played a part in convincing McMahon to grant the latest batch of releases. And Triple H was right. Who's talking about Shawn Spears joining AEW? Everybody was like, oh, we're going to just keep Shawn Spears on the roster and not do anything with him so he doesn't go to the competition. Who gives a fuck if Shawn Spears went to the competition? Did he move the needle? No. Will he move the needle? No. Dustin Rhodes. Who gives a shit if Dustin Rhodes goes and joins AEW? Did he move the needle? No. Will he move the needle? No. WWE was only keeping these guys on the roster and holding them back as a big fuck you. WWE blatantly kept these guys on the roster because they don't respect pro wrestling. Simple. They hate pro wrestling. They hate the fans of pro wrestling. And they didn't want to let these guys go because they legitimately don't give a shit about their careers. They don't give a shit that they want to go create. They don't give a shit that they want, in the case of Dustin, want to go wrestle his brother for AEW. Meanwhile, what is the point of holding on to a Dustin Runnels and a Shawn Spears when they're not going to do anything that you and your imagination have conjured for another company? I don't get it. I would rather, at the end of the day, be a good and smart businessman and say, you know what? This is a lot of money we're letting go. Let them go. They're not going to do anything anyway. And the ratings proved that they aren't going to move the needle. So I don't get what Vince McMahon is overly worried about. Just pick and choose who you know is not going to be a difference maker and let them go if you truly don't have any desire to push these people on WWE television. Let them go. Maybe they'll go out there and make a bigger name for themselves, and maybe in 2 or 3 years you'll look at them differently, and maybe you'll get the creative juices to do something better and different with them the next time, if they are open to it. I'm just trying to be logical here. Now, the feeling is that the company will let some wrestlers go, specifically wrestlers who will not make a huge difference in All Elite Wrestling. We're interested in signing them. AEW is not looking to sign a lot of former WWE stars, so there's no guarantee that any of them are going to go there. Luke Harper seems more likely since he is friends with key people in AEW. In his case, it made sense to let him go since he was expected to leave in a few months at the end of his contract anyway. His deal was supposed to expire last month, but WWE added time to his contract to make up for time he missed while he was injured, which we discussed. Fightful Select and Sean Ross Sapp report that there is currently a thought going around the WWE Performance Center that some cuts might be coming to NXT as well. Those releases probably won't happen until the first quarter of the next year in 2020. He says, and I quote, a couple of members of the NXT roster have also told us at Fightful that word is going around that if NXT cuts are coming, it could be in January or early February. Now, there was a report by the Squared Circle Sirens saying that the locker room at the Performance Center, there's no room for lockers, being that WWE right now is signing so much talent and hoarding so much talent that there's no locker room space at the PC. So whoever they don't have a desire in pushing, or WWE doesn't see any value in anybody making that jump to TV, more than likely you're going to get cut. I don't know who that is, but we'll see come January or February if that report from Fightful is indeed true. Now, we'll have to see what happens to guys like Mike Kanellis, who also requested his release earlier this year, if he will be now allowed to leave. WWE isn't using him. I don't think they used him. Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis used WWE and lied to WWE to get a 5-year multi-million-dollar contract out of them without telling WWE that they were expecting their second child. So obviously WWE found out about this. They ruined Mike Kanellis on TV. He looked like the biggest fucking loser, not named Seth Rollins or Rusev on television. It was bad. And now he's not on television. Mike Kanellis didn't want to do the storyline, I guess, right? Maybe WWE had no desire to push him in that manner on television. I don't know what happened. Maybe he finally spoke up about it. I can't do this. This is not for me. This is not what I signed on to do. I deserve better. Who knows? But they gave the storyline to another person who doesn't mind being a cuck, and that is Rusev. Now they gave it to Rusev, Lashley, and Lana. It's the same storyline, only slightly changed. Now, instead of Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis, it's Rusev, Trashley, and Lana. Recently, with Booker T on his podcast, Booker T and Brad Gilmore, Hall of Fame, he shared his thoughts on the latest round of WWE contract releases. Booker T didn't have overly positive things to say about the Ascension. He felt like they weren't able to stand up to similar tag teams with similar gimmicks of the past. He basically said that they couldn't stand up to the Road Warriors and Demolition. Who could? Who could? No matter how many times WWE wants to boast about the New Day's statistics, even the powerful New Day cannot stand up to the Road Warriors or Demolition. They can't. When I am talking about tag teams and the discussion of top tag teams in WWE, the New Day will not even be in the top 10. Simple as that. To see the Ascension come along, it's just kind of hard to fall into those footsteps, Road Warriors, and actually make it work. I mean, the Ascension, man, they've been around since 2010, maybe a little bit longer than that down in NXT, FCW, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But those guys have been around for quite some time. Do you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean. So those guys, they have a run as long as they did. That's what I call a career. Almost 10 years, that's a career. 10 years, 9 years, that's a career for a lot of guys. So big ups. That's all you have to say about the Ascension. The fact that they were in this for 10 years, that's a career? That's a career I'm going to look back on. And if I'm Connor and Victor, I'm looking back as, yeah, there were a lot of memories that we shared, made some close friends, hopefully. But as far as career goes, I'm going to look back and say that was a complete waste of 10 years of my life. What did I do? Where did we go wrong? We put our careers in the hands of people that from day one didn't give a shit about us on the main roster, and we were fucked. So Booker T failed to mention that both the New Age Outlaws and the APA, Bradshaw and Ron Simmons, fucked over the Ascension, and they never recovered. Ever. And they were doomed from the get-go. WWE tried to book them as the Road Warriors. They tried to book them as the second coming of a tag team in that same category, in that same vein, and it never worked. Instead of pushing them as something different, you can't rely on old school to bring the new school to prominence. I don't understand why you would go out there and look at the Ascension and think Road Warriors. Why? Why would you even think that is going to be successful? Nobody's going to take to that because everybody loves the Road Warriors. So that is just inviting everybody to shit on the Ascension. I don't get it. Luke Harper. He talked about Luke Harper. Booker T sees a move to New Japan in Luke Harper's future. I see Japan written all over this kid. Calling Luke Harper a kid. He's fucking 39 years old, a kid. I see New Japan. I see this guy working over there for many, many years, getting paid some long green ducats because they love big Americans like Luke Harper in Japan. So I see Luke Harper having a great career even after WWE, making perhaps more money than he's ever made in his entire life. If Harper can turn out to be a Stan Hansen, this guy can make a whole lot of money throughout his career in Japan. I just see New Japan written all over him. End quote. Luke Harper, no matter where he goes, is going to be a success. You know, it's Vince McMahon that didn't like Luke Harper. And that's all it boiled down to. I don't understand, and a lot of people are with me in this. I don't know how you look at Luke Harper and you can book creatively Luke Harper. What did he do so wrong in the eyes of Vince McMahon? Vince McMahon just didn't like him for whatever reason. There were reports that Vince McMahon didn't like him. He couldn't get a southern accent over, and Vince McMahon just kept him at home. He couldn't do it right. He didn't do it good. Vince McMahon found no value in him because he couldn't do a southern accent. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they're booking Eric Rowan harder and stronger than Luke Harper. I don't get it. I don't understand that logic. Luke Harper had a run in the Wyatt family with Wyatt and Randy Orton. A storyline that I was actually enjoying. And there's nobody that's going to convince me otherwise. Luke Harper should have been in the WWE Championship match that year at WrestleMania 31. Should have been Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Luke Harper for the WWE Championship. Luke Harper was organically getting over. And I don't know if that was the end-all, be-all. I don't know if that was the reason That was the moment where Vince McMahon brought up all of a sudden Wyatt couldn't do, or Harper rather, couldn't do a southern accent while he was still in the Wyatt family with Bray Wyatt. Maybe. I don't know. But I know for a fact that Luke Harper was getting over, and Luke Harper played a great role in making that storyline as interesting as it was, because he was the only one that stood out and was kind of saying, you know what, Bray, maybe we shouldn't trust this guy. I see the writing on the wall. More and more, we see Randy Orton's intentions. All he wanted was to kill the Wyatt family from within and take the WWE Championship, and Bray Wyatt wasn't listening to Luke Harper. That was an interesting storyline that should have resulted in him in that championship match, or if there was a fucking god that had any logic cast down in WWE, had him win the WWE Championship, if it be a week or two. I don't understand why you didn't go and push him when he was organically getting over. What did he do before that as a singles run? A very brief run with the Intercontinental Championship. He's not a big guy. He's not a Braun Strowman big guy. But the simple fact that he's as athletic as he is, he's got a great look, and he's as big as he is and works well in the ring as he does, it's just mind-boggling to me. How you have a guy that size who could go out there and work with anybody and is great at what he does, still young, still has a lot left to offer, and you have nothing for him. The fact that you're pushing his tag team partner, who is so much worse than what Luke Harper was, is absolutely disgusting. I don't find any redeeming value in Eric Rowan whatsoever. How could you fuck up this guy as badly as you did? It just goes to show you that WWE doesn't understand or know the talent that they have currently employed. Luke Harper may be one of the biggest situations as far as WWE not understanding the true talent that they actually have employed on that roster. I wouldn't say it's the worst fuck-up of all time, but when you're talking about recently, Luke Harper's absolutely in discussion as one of the biggest fuck-ups that WWE's made creatively. And he's going to be better off for it. WWE might not think that they're losing anything, but I guarantee you, no matter where he goes, he's going to be a guy that is going to be highly wanted when those 90 days are up. That is going to be one motivated motherfucker. I am telling you right now, if Luke Harper, if Brody Lee is exactly what I think he is, because I know I would be. I know if I was treated the way that I was treated, if I was talked down to the way I was talked down to, if I was miscast the way that I was by my boss, I'm holding my hands up and I'm like, I'm praising fucking God that I'm released. Yeah, I gotta wait 90 days, but wait until those 90 days are up. If I was him, because I know I would do the same exact thing. If I was him, those 90 days are up. I'm gonna go out there, whether it's Japan, MLW, AEW, fucking Impact, wherever he goes. He's going to go out there and absolutely use all of that negativity that was surrounding him in WWE and do what he has to do. And he's going to show everybody that he's got so much more left in the tank, that you fucked up letting me go, that you didn't understand what you had in me. He's going to put on the best matches of his career. He's going to take that and he's going to throw it right back in their face. He's going to use that fuel to make this part of his career, this chapter of his career, a career resurgence. Because I know I would. I know I would. And you know what? I absolutely 100% back him in doing that. I absolutely think he's going to do that. And I hope he does it. And I hope he comes out better for it on the other side. Because fuck Vince McMahon. Fuck WWE. Luke Harper is not the only situation and the only case. It's happening with a lot of people on that roster. You look up and down that Raw and SmackDown roster, it's happening with a lot of guys. You might not just realize it. Ricochet, Rusev, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Ali, Chad Gable, Apollo Crews, Kevin Owens, right? Andrade, Rey Mysterio. It's happening up and down that roster. I can't wait for him to fucking throw everything back in WWE's face and say, fuck you guys for letting me go. Look at me now. He's not going to move the needle. He's not going to be a ratings draw. He's not going to fucking swing the needle in the other way for AEW if he goes there. to beat NXT week after week after week after week. He's not going to be that type of guy. He's going to be a solid upper mid-card guy that's going to add a lot of depth no matter what roster he ends up on. Who knows if he wants to go to Japan? I could already see him in matches with Lance Archer. I could already see it. I could see him in matches with Juice Robinson. I could see him in matches with literally anybody on that roster. Honestly. Will Ospreay. I could see him in matches with Kenny Omega. I could see him in matches with fucking Adam Hangman Page. I could see him in matches with Cody. I could see him in the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny stable. I can see him just be part of a possible Villain Enterprises in AEW. Marty Scurll already tweeted that out as well. He found out that Luke Harper was released. He went on Instagram and tweeted a picture of him and Luke Harper. Photograph from when? I don't know. And he used the caption, "A new Villain Enterprises?" Luke Harper is going to be very well off. And I hope that he takes this and throws it in his face. Who knows where he's going to end up? He might want to travel the world. He might go to New Japan. He could do literally anything he wants. He could work for New Japan. He could work for MLW. He could work for Impact. He could work for AEW and New Japan. You know? I don't know where he's going to go. He could work for TNA. He could work for TNA, take independent bookings, just get his feet wet again. The guy I know has been held in captivity so much he just wants to wrestle. Can't wait to see what he does. Fuck WWE for messing him up. How you mess him up? I don't know. Just goes to show you the current state of WWE right now. Luke Harper is all you need to think of when you think of the current state in WWE. Now, several stars are considering asking to leave the company after this latest round of releases. Ty Dillinger, Hideo Itami, Kenta, and Shawn Spears now obviously in New Japan and AEW. They left earlier this year. The company decided to let Harper, Sin Cara, and the Ascension out of their contracts. It was reported by Sportskeeda again that it seems like there will be no shortage of wrestlers asking to leave the company after this latest round of releases. Sportskeeda is reporting that a small number of WWE superstars are considering also asking to leave the company. They say, and I quote, according to a source in the WWE locker room, a small number of WWE wrestlers are considering asking for their releases after this latest round of releases due to the concerns that they have, and now this might be the only time the company's willing to let them go. So we'll see what happens. No names were mentioned. I assume that Mike Kanellis is on that list, and he will be asking to leave the company for a third time this year. Maybe the third time is the charm for Mike Kanellis. Maybe he goes back to Impact Wrestling, where he found some success. I'm sure they would welcome him with open arms. Backstage thought on the Revival. After all these releases, everybody's asking, what about the Revival? They asked for their release. So did Sasha Banks. But they asked for their release because all they wanted was a better tag team division, and they were fed up with the way everybody was being booked. They were fed up with the way that they were booked. Fightful Select is reporting, Sean Ross Sapp is reporting, that after all four of these recent releases, that WWE handed down Luke Harper, Sin Cara, and the Ascension, that there is a feeling backstage that the Revival are currently being messed with. One person in the company joked with us at Fightful saying, it's either a coincidence or next level fucking with the Revival, that a bunch of people were granted their releases, but they can't release them because they have a title match on the pay-per-view Sunday night. I don't know. Take that as you want. WWE's not going to let the Revival go because the Revival could show up in AEW. Again, I don't think that they're going to be the ones to move the needle, but they have Impact. And I don't mean the company Impact, but they have Impact written all over them. They show up in AEW, they are going to be Impact players. It's going to be a major happening for a couple of weeks, and then it'll probably die off like everything else usually does. They're not going to move the needle. They're not going to have people gravitate to go watch AEW on a weekly basis, and they're going to blow NXT out of the water in the ratings. It's not going to be that type of deal. But that's where tag team wrestling is thriving right now. You got too many teams over there that are like Private Party, like the Lucha Brothers, these high-flying teams, the Young Bucks, right? SCU. The Revival, I could see making an impact going over there, changing the landscape for true tag team wrestling. They could be that team that grounds everybody the way that they need to be grounded, and tag team wrestling could actually flourish in a legitimate way. They are going to bring real tag team wrestling to AEW. I know that's going to happen. When it's going to happen, I don't know. 2020 is going to be a big deal. The summer of 2020 is when AEW, you guys are hating on AEW right now. 2020, the summer of 2020, AEW might be vastly different than what we see right now. So we don't know where Marty Scurll, when he's going to show up. He's going. The Revival's going. We don't know who else on the WWE roster has contracts up in 2020. They may go. You know, AEW's got a keen eye on a lot. They need to bolster that roster. Their women's division needs help. They're looking at several women talent in 2020. It's going to be a vastly different promotion come the summer of 2020. So don't really start shitting on AEW just yet. I think the Revival are going to go over there and they're going to kill it in the tag team division. I hope that's the case. I hope that they don't re-sign with the company. Please, for the love of God, don't. The Revival are going to be at TLC on Sunday against the New Day. The odds that they win? 0. WWE Hall of Fame headliners revealed. This will be the last story. This was reported by ESPN. NWO will be headlining the 2020 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Sean Waltman, and of course Hulk Hogan, all being inducted for the second time. Waltman, more commonly known as X-Pac, was inducted as part of DX last year, and what turned out to be one of the most eventful Hall of Fame ceremonies of all time, with Bret Hart being attacked by somebody, a fucking rabid fan, after his speech, or during his speech. ESPN reports about the WWE Hall of Fame in 2020. And I quote, WWE will recognize 4 of the core members of the NWO in its early days: Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Sean Waltman. They will be honored on stage April 2nd in Tampa, Florida, as part of the festivities surrounding WrestleMania 36. Tickets go on sale today. It will be the second Hall of Fame honors for each of the 4 men recognized as part of the NWO. Hogan was inducted as an individual in 2005, followed by Hall in 2014, Nash in 2015. Waltman was honored as part of D-Generation X in 2019. Waltman actually said that he has no interest in being inducted solo into the Hall of Fame. He is more than content with being inducted into D-Generation X and the NWO portions of the Hall of Fame. The annual Hall of Fame ceremony has honestly lost a lot of its appeal to me. I don't really give a shit about the Hall of Fame induction. Same people are being inducted over and over and over again. WWE clearly running out of big money players to sell tickets to this event. So it's going to be great seeing the NWO in the ring for a few of the catchphrases, some of the speeches that they got, some of the stories that they got. And the fucked up thing is, I don't know if this is clearly a Vince McMahon decision. I don't know why. But it goes to show you that all along they had something against Eric Bischoff. I am absolutely against Eric Bischoff not being in the Hall of Fame. I don't understand how that is even possible. Eric Bischoff created the NWO. Without Eric Bischoff, there is no NWO. So how are you not going to induct Eric Bischoff along with Hogan, Hall, Nash, and Sean Waltman? Now, I don't know who's doing the honors to induct them. I would hope it's Eric Bischoff and they're having him induct the NWO. But I don't know why Eric Bischoff is not a part of the Hall of Fame act of the NWO, after he was the one who created the entire faction that transcended wrestling history and led 83 weeks of fucking WCW, and my series going off, 83 weeks of WCW beating Monday Night Raw in the Monday Night Wars. I don't understand it. Maybe that has all the reason to do with why Eric Bischoff is not going in to the WWE Hall of Fame for that reason. He almost put them out of business. Why would he go into the Hall of Fame? It's the only thing I can come up with. But it sucks that the man behind the NWO is not going. Maybe he is at least going to be given the honors to induct them. I would hope so. There's nobody else better. I don't know who would do that induction. So Batista, he will join Hall, Nash, X-Pac, and Hogan in the class of 2020. First reported by People Magazine. Speaking to People Magazine, Batista said, as soon as I hung up the phone, I was, and excuse my language, I was like, shit, I got to give a speech. And that is what I've been stressing about since. I don't think it's sunk in yet. And I was thinking about it because, I mean, it seems like a long journey, but it also feels like yesterday when I started my career. It also feels, because I'm working so much, it doesn't feel like an end of a journey. End quote. Batista was actually at WrestleMania in his retirement match this year against Triple H. And Triple H had this to say on Batista's induction with the NWO into the WWE Hall of Fame. Batista was one of the fastest rising stars ever in WWE with an incredible list of accolades and successes. And with the success of the NWO, they changed the course of sports entertainment history. It is only fitting that they all take their rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame. And Batista, he already has, I should say, someone to induct him into the Hall of Fame. It is going to be one Fit Finlay inducting Batista into the Hall of Fame. This was a no-brainer. I mean, he retired. There's no better person for the headlining class than Batista. It only makes sense. But that is a well-deserved one. The NWO is a certainly well-deserved one. Don't know what's going on with that Bischoff situation. Let me know what you guys think about that. But that is what's going on with the Hall of Fame earlier than usual. Normally, we start getting these rolled out in January, after the Royal Rumble, early February. But with everybody, I think, especially with Batista, the only thing I could really come up with is the fact that, Batista is one of the busiest men in Hollywood. They want him to clear his calendar so they could get him into the Hall of Fame. They want him to clear that weekend. Don't do anything. Come, we'll induct you into Tampa, and we want you free for that night. Same thing with Hall, same thing with Nash, Hogan, and X-Pac, Sean Waltman. So I'm assuming they did that just so that everybody can clear their calendar and get ready for April 2nd for the Hall of Fame. So that's what I got there, and that is all I got for Off the Script. Guys, we were here for almost 2 hours, probably just about 2 hours. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on Friday the 13th, episode 304, part number 1. We got more to come on Saturday. We're going to go over the entire TLC card, TLC news and rumors, TLC predictions, and what did Corey Graves say this week? We'll go over what he said and how stupid he sounded, or maybe not. Maybe he actually listened to my podcast last week and actually agreed with me. So we'll go over what Corey Graves said on After the Bell as well, plus so much more right here on Off the Script. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Check out the videos that you might have missed this week. Check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/JD from NY206. And I will see you guys, as always, tomorrow, right here, right on Saturday. Same time, same place, YouTube. This is Off the Script, the #1 wrestling podcast right here in the YouTube wrestling community. Thank you guys so very much. I am JD, and I'll see you guys right back here on Saturday for more OTS. See you then.